It's depressing here.
What you think about when you're born into a fire? Let them burn it out. Sell them to the richest buyer. They wanna let the world decay. They tell us lies and fade away, fade away. We feel betrayed. We were raised to lose the race. Wake at the back of the pack, kill it anyway. Listen up now, because we're never dropping out. Beat the odds, beat the big house. The brains are bigger than the doubt. We've been thinking for ourselves, never let the truth fade away. This is bigger than ourselves, we won't let the world burn away, burn away. We feel betrayed. We were raised to lose the race. Wake at the back of the pack, kill it anyway. To blame, haters face the world's mistakes. Wake at the back of the pack, kill it anyway.
I don't know. What do you guys think? Is it worth it?
And we feel betrayed. We were raised to lose the race.
Well, what's up?
Hey Daddies, it's me, the Linda Binda from TikTok. I wanted to make this video because I wanted to thank you for watching Cold Beer Confessionals with Will Bird. I think that's just incredible. I've watched a few episodes and I'm just like very intrigued. But you know what I'm most intrigued in is Big Daddy's meat stick. I heard that it's very thick, like a good old German sausage. You know, Linda and her coochie loves that. Oh, never mind. Let's not go there. Anyways, I hope you have a good show and enjoy it as you can. There's a lot of weird things that go on, especially when it comes from the realm of Linda Bindaland. So, enjoy the show. Thanks for watching. Peace out.
Welcome, everybody. I'm Will Bird. This is the Cold Beer Confessional. Thank you for joining us. How's it going, guys? I know, another late start. I can't seem to get fucking motivated about anything. It's just, I've been down. I did see the blood moon last night. Oliver had mentioned earlier in the week that he wanted to see it, and I was like, man, it's a Thursday night. You'd have to stay up super late. You got school the next morning. But it just so happened that when I came home, it was going on. So I was able to wake him up. He was sleeping in nothing but his underwear, but I wrapped him up in a jacket and took him outside to see it. It was pretty cool. I made a TikTok video. Actually, I can't play the music, but I can show you the video. It was pretty cool. When I went out with Ollie, about half the moon was covered, and it looked black at first until more of the moon got covered, and then as more of the moon got covered, it started turning a red color. I don't know if you guys got to see it, but basically, as the show was ending last night, you could already see a portion of it if you just went and looked at the moon. Here it is. Let me make sure the music doesn't play. That I zoom all the way in on it. See how it's like a reddish, brownish color? Ended up looking pretty cool. I zoomed in as far as I could with my phone. The light changed right there, not the moon, obviously. It's picking up different lights. But basically the whole moon became covered, and it was like a reddish, brownish, almost like a rust-looking color. It's pretty cool. It was interesting, if nothing else. Yeah, there you go. Over on TikTok. Stumbled across this article, which laid this statement out pretty well. The on-again, off-again tariffs on imports from Mexico and Canada proposed by President Donald Trump have trading partners fuming, corporations pausing, and consumers worrying. This is what's basically rattling the economy right now, is uncertainty, right? Businesses want to be able to plan long into the future. They're not worried about this week, this month, this year. A lot of times they're looking 10 years down the road. And when there's uncertainty around imports, exports, business, EPA, all this stuff, they don't want to invest. The taxes would not... Mexico and Canada by President Donald Trump and have trading partners fuming, corporations pausing, and consumers worrying. The taxes would not be necessary, the president said recently, if not for the poor deal-making of a prior administration. Who can blame them if they made these great deals, Trump said during a White House press conference with Emmanuel Macron on February 24th, adding the two trading partners took advantage of us, talking about took advantage of the United States, talking about Canada and Mexico, making such great deals. Every aspect that you could imagine they took advantage of, the president continued. I looked at some of these agreements. I'd read them at night and say, who would ever sign a thing like this? Who would ever sign a thing like this? So yes, the tariffs will go forward. We'll make up a lot of territory. Our country will be liquid and rich again. There's a lot of hyperbole for a failed trade deal. So who was the sucker who agreed to it? It must have been the previous commander-in-chief, Joe Biden, whom Trump often calls the worst president ever. Nope. Barack Obama, no again. This is a direct quote from Trump. We are led by, in some cases, fools. Trump reiterated at the Macron press conference. Anybody that would agree to allow this to happen to our country should be ashamed of themselves. Turns out, the leader responsible was someone who many believe knows no shame. the one who, in his previous incarnation as a real estate tycoon, authored the best-selling book called The Art of the Deal. Yes, the president was talking about himself, though it's likely he wasn't aware of it. Admitting mistakes is not his style, and he certainly never referred to himself as a fool before, at least not in front of the meeting cameras. But by his own estimation, Trump was just that. In November 2018, Trump joined Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau and then Mexican President Nieto to sign a trade deal among the three nations called the U.S.-Mexico-Canada Agreement, the USMCA, while attending a G20 summit in Argentina. Replacing the 1994 NAFTA, the USMCA deal was negotiated 5 months after Trump ignited a trade war by imposing tariffs on steel and aluminum from Canada and Mexico and the European Union. Canada and Mexico retaliated with tariffs on U.S. goods. During the signing ceremony, Trump called the USMCA the largest, most significant, modern, and balanced trade agreement in history. It's always the best until it's not. Adding, all of our countries will benefit greatly. It is probably the largest trade deal ever made also. Much of the media missed the ironic plot twist of Trump blaming himself for that deal, but social media didn't. Trump was even corrected in the community notes section of X, owned by top advisor and Department of Government Efficiency chief Elon Musk. Oh my God, the President of the United States just got community noted when he forgot the fact that he signed the agreements he doesn't like. This is fast approaching Biden level of incompetency. I want to show you this tweet. It's funny that he got community noted. There it is. So here's the quote.
I mean, who can blame them if they made these great deals with the United States, took advantage of the United States on manufacturing, on just about everything. Every aspect that you could imagine they took advantage of. I look at some of these agreements, I'd read them at night, and I'd say, who would ever sign a thing like this? So the tariffs will go forward, yes, and we're going to make up a lot of territory. All we want is reciprocal. We want reciprocity. We want to have the same. So if somebody charges us, we charge them. It's very simple. But
that would have been awesome if that was his goal, and that's what he would have done in his trade deal. With Canada and Mexico, we're operating under his trade deal. People are like, well, he didn't exactly negotiate that, Michigan and New York and other states get power from Canada. But he did, right? There's even a separate letter that was penned just between the United States and Canada, just on energy and energy exchange back and forth across the border. So that includes power and oil and everything else. If he had a problem with any of this, when he authored his trade deal, that would be the time to address it.
The same. So if somebody charges us, we charge them. It's very simple, but it'll be very good for our country. Our country will be extremely liquid and rich again. Plus, who can blame?
President Donald Trump signed, the community note said, President Donald Trump signed the USMCA, a thing like this specifically addressing trade with Mexico and Canada in 2020. President Donald Trump's United States-Mexico-Canada agreement delivers a historic win for American workers. Like, people think, like, they just read, like, the highlights. Like, he's a historic deal, making good on his promise. It will replace the terrible NAFTA agreement result. It went through everything. Every bit of anything that is traded across the border legally. It could be energy transmission from power plants, milk, dairy. Everything he's upset about was laid out in this. Everything. Lumber that he's mad about in this deal. The power coming to United States in this deal. Dairy in this deal. Cheese in this deal. Everything is in this deal. That's why he wanted his name on it. That's why he wanted to do this deal. It was like a legacy thing, right? NAFTA had been around forever. There were complaints about NAFTA, but it seemed to work. He wanted this big hurrah that he revitalized the automobile industry because they were fleeing to Canada and Mexico. And he wanted to bring that, but he kind of didn't, right? He made these requirements where so much of the car has to be sourced in either the United States, Mexico, or Canada. And so a percentage of the car's manufacturing has to be done by employees that make at least $16 an hour. And you think, well, that's awesome. You know, raising wages in Mexico, you know, maybe getting some decent wages somewhere in the United States. Not exactly. What they did was they pay their designers, their engineers, their fucking C-suite, their board, all the really high-end people that are making way over $16, that are making hundreds of dollars an hour, right? They pay them in the United States. They still pay $3 an hour in Mexico, and it averages out to $16 an hour. That's how they get around that. A lot of people said, well, it replaces NAFTA. Maybe it's not the greatest, maybe it's not the worst, but it replaces NAFTA. Some people said we should have kept NAFTA. Most people said we probably could have negotiated something better. But to come out 4 years later and be like, whoever signed that's an idiot. They're all fools. I can't believe I'd stay up at night reading it thinking, who would sign this? Your name is on it, bro. You signed it. Not only did you sign it, you authored it. He wanted all the credit in 2020, but in 2025, when he throws out tariffs and they say, well, we'll tariff you back, he's like, they can't do this. Who signed these crazy deals? Who wrote this? I don't know. It's like living in fucking clown world, dude. It's wild. Pretty big fact check on Doge that's been coming out here lately. So a lot of this was from the was it the Washington Post, New York Times maybe. They are the ones who first. You remember when Doge swapped $8 billion for $8 million? They'd saved $8 billion in a contract. It was an $8 million contract, and not only that, it had already been paid out. Right? They weren't getting that money back. Seems like they're making the same mistakes again and again and again and again to pump up their numbers. But the New York Times pointed this out to them. They claimed they corrected it, but then they made it hard. Again, every time Elon Musk goes somewhere and talks, he talks about how transparent. Same with Trump. How transparent this is. How you can just go look. You can read the contracts. You can do this. You can check it out. You can do, and every time we read it, it's a lie, right? $500 million watching trans men have periods or whatever. It's a lie. Now they're making it harder to look up. Check this out. Uh-oh. It's muted. Hold on. We'll restart it.
Over the last few weeks, we've been reporting on errors in the so-called wall of receipts. This is a website that Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency has set up in the name of transparency to show how it's saved American taxpayers money.
They're literally, so this is their new little wall of receipts or whatever they have. They're not including contract numbers. All they're saying is agency, description, and that description is something they type in, right? The upload date that they uploaded their website and the amount.
How did Musk and his team respond after we found those errors? By making their work less transparent and making their errors harder to find. But we found them anyway. Doge has added a new section to its website. This one deals with federal grants. They posted 3,500 new federal grants that they said they'd canceled and saved $10 billion in the process. But they only included minimal information about each one of these grants, like the agency that made the grant and the amount of money they claimed they had saved. They didn't include other details that would allow a reporter like...
By the way, Crowder, apparently, this is like streaming news, I guess. Crowder, Tim Pool, The Quartering, and a couple more people have officially left YouTube. They've declared YouTube is dead now, that it's not worth being on YouTube, and they're all going to Rumble. I don't think it's going to work out the way they think it is. I mean, I'm sure they're being padded heavily financially by Rumble. But like if you just look at like search results, like you could tell that That Rumble's not it. Maybe one day I would love to have an equal competitor to YouTube that was maybe a little more lax on the rules, because I get hit in Rumble all the time. Or I'm sorry, on YouTube all the time. But it's not there yet. I think they're making a mistake. Rumble better pay them quite a bit.
Included minimal information about each one of these grants, like the agency that made the grant and the amount of money they claimed they had saved. They didn't include other details that would allow a reporter like me or anybody else to track down.
At minimum, they ought to be including the number to look it up, right? The grant issuing number, the document number, something to look it up.
Which grant they were talking about, and to figure out if the claim Doge was making is actually true. But they left identifying information for each one of these grants embedded in the code of Doge's website. This long string of numbers is a unique award.
So if you do inspect ID or inspect element on their website before this video come out, hidden, which they could have easily shown, the ID number. Instead, it's in their website. This number is in their website, and they've chosen not to show it to the public, right? You have to go digging through the back end of the website. They've hidden it on purpose. You could find the award ID. They have since updated that, right? Because they claim for security reasons, even though you can go right to GovSpending and search all of these award IDs. They're public. This is public knowledge. You can't get upset for being a company that was awarded a federal grant or program or whatever contract and then be mad that people know that you got the contract. You can look it up. It's public record. But now they're removing this as well, even if you do like inspect element and look at the website.
ID that identifies each grant within the federal government's bureaucracy. And what we discovered was basically the same kind of error they had been making before. There were 5 of those errors, and just the top 20 largest savings they were claiming. Those errors started with the largest item on the list. Doge said it had saved $1.75 billion by cutting a contract.
Yeah, Rumble stock is not doing very well, I don't think. It's down 40% on the year. Yeah. I know they had a huge uptick though. Right at the end of 2024. They doubled. So they went from like 750 to like on December 30th, they were at 750 to 1627. But now on the year to date, they're down like 35%, 40%, something like that.
Contract to a public health nonprofit. When we talked to that nonprofit, they said Doge's data was wrong twice over. First, they said the contract had not been canceled. Second, they said that even if it had been canceled, all the money that the government owed them had already been paid. So the savings.
So, okay, here we go. The very first one, which is $1.75 billion. This contract was never canceled. And even if it was canceled now, they've already been paid. So literally their top one, the one in the 10 slot, the 12 slot, the 19 slot, they only check the top 20 on the list by savings claimed. So the first one has already been paid. You can't put that in savings. And their contract is not canceled. It's still showing as valid right now. I went and looked it up. Well, before I started the stream, it was still valid.
Things achieved by terminating this contract would be 0. In other cases, Musk's group seemed to have misunderstood a fundamental part of government contracts.
They don't misunderstand this, by the way. So a lot of government contracts are signed for you to supply something or do something, and they'll have an upper limit, right? Let's say the government wants 100 cars, okay? And you tell them, hey, it's going to cost at least, I don't know, $5 million. But depending on the features, the add-ons or want, it could cost up to $30 million. But bottom line, it's going to cost at least $5 million. They will award you that contract on stipulation that you got $5 million, we've got some headroom, but you cannot go over $25 million, whatever, right? And that includes if we want to add 5 more cars or what, it doesn't matter. they are taking the maximum potential outlay amounts and claiming that as savings, when in reality, the companies were never going to get that much anyways. So you might call it saving $5 million. The company only got paid $700,000 and was never going to get the other $4.3 million. So you can't really call that savings.
Contracting. They said they'd saved $83 million by cutting a grant from USAID to a nonprofit called Engender Health. What that group told us was that Doge had been looking at something called a ceiling value, basically an upper limit on what the government could ever possibly spend. Instead, they'd been given a much smaller number, $1.2 million, of which they'd already received about.
So they claim $83 million.
$500,000.
They claim $83 million.
Smaller number, $1.2 million.
But really, they've already, the contract was actually only for $1.2 million. You see how this, like if $83 million versus $1.2 million. Not to mention, they've already been paid $700,000. So the actual savings is about $500,000. That sounds like a lot of money to me and you. That's nothing in the government, first of all. If we can save it, cool, let's save it. But to save $500,000 and claim it's $83 million. That's like saving what, $5 and claiming you saved $830? These are not the same thing.
$1 million, of which they'd already received about $500,000.
Good job, Q-Idiot.
So the savings achieved by cutting that grant, they said, was not $83 million, but something much smaller, about $700,000.
I'm sorry, I had those numbers backwards, but still. $81 million compared to $26 million. $65 million compared to $57 million. They're lying about the numbers.
Three errors all seem to involve a similar.
This one's really bad. $62 million, $12 million.
Misunderstanding. A couple of days after Doge posted.
There's a big dip. Like if your wife goes to the store and she's like, I used a coupon and saved $830. You'd be like, holy shit. Right? That's insane. Good job. But if she goes to the store and says, I used a coupon, I saved $5. Oh, okay. Well, probably didn't cover the gas of driving to the store, but great.
About $700,000. The next three errors all seem to involve a similar misunderstanding. A couple of days after Doge posted those hidden clues that helped us find the reality of these grants, they removed them.
They removed the hidden data that was on the back end of their website that you could actually look these grants up. Now you can't even look them up.
The White House official told us that the identifying information was removed for security purposes. This new secrecy from Doge appears to contradict what Elon Musk has said in interviews. He recently said that Doge was transparent.
Line by line.
It's transparent line by line.
Which is quite remarkable.
We're going to continue.
Transparent line by line. But now you can't, on the wall of receipts, you can't even see it. It doesn't make any sense.
Trying to fact check those claims, but Doge has just made our work much, much harder.
If they're transparent line by line, again, I'd ask you the same thing. Why are they lying about their biggest ones? Why are they outright lying about the biggest ones? If you want to get everybody on your side, show me this contract that was for $60 million. And it was just some guy in a shack that lied about everything, right? But every time you show me something, you miscategorize it, you over-exaggerate it, you lie about it. The contract's already been paid. It's just something that you don't like. You're calling fraud. I don't know. It doesn't make any sense. What is this?
There's no.
Oh, this guy's really weird to like DoorDash people, but then he gives them a bunch of money. I'm not sure how I feel about it. Like to like freak somebody out and act like a lunatic, then give them money. I don't know.
There's only so many times before a flip switches when you get double dashed.
Yeah, it just.
Sick of it.
That was my order.
Why'd you give it to him? That was not my DoorDash.
Dude, that was my order.
Hey, what the Hey, listen to me. Hey, I got 4 bodies underneath my house.
You want that?
And then I do this. Hey, hold on. Hey, brother, I got something for you. Brother, look, I got something.
Unless he comes running at him with a bag and shit, dude, I'd be like getting the fuck out of here too, thinking I was gonna get shot.
Man, look. Yes, look, you have to take it, man. I have to tip you. Here.
What's going on here?
What'd you say?
What's going on with homie?
Oh!
Was that really his or yours?
Well, the thing is, I always get double dashed. But when I told him
That's his catchphrase, is I always get double dashed.
back there, I told him, I have 4 bodies underneath my house.
What the f***? I'm so confused right now.
You take that, and you don't say a word of this, okay?
Okay, you want this back?
No, I don't.
Nah.
Yeah. Okay. You can follow the instructions on the sign.
He's like, what the f*** going on? I don't understand.
I don't know. His shit's going viral though. I don't know. Atsuko is at a family event. I'm sure she'll tell everybody when she gets back, but I think it's a graduation. Her son's graduating, so she probably won't be here tonight.
All right.
And the other mods I got rid of. So there you go. You'll have that on these big jobs. Mr. Global's back.
I'm very happy with is oil is down to $65 a barrel. And that's faster than I would have until we put on the gas. We stepped in the gas in order to get oil. And what's happening. So we're...
Yes, you wrecked the economy much faster than any of us thought you would.
Oil prices are dropping. Everything's dropping. The stock market's crashing. Yeah, but isn't oil cheap?
But oil's not $65 a barrel, Donald. That's not a thing. Probably will be soon, though, at the rate you're going. Is all of this why I keep seeing this? You know, gas prices are their lowest in 4 years. Is it so bad you have to lie about gas prices now? Are gas prices the lowest they've been in 4 years? Are they even close? So the national average for a gallon of gas is $3.08. In December, it was below $3. Yeah. $2.98 a gallon in December. That's just a couple months ago. 3 or 4 months ago.
Doge is currently claiming $115 billion in savings. And they're claiming that that's $714 per taxpayer is they're claiming. Estimated at 161 million individual federal taxpayers. But that number is way like 2 billion. 115 billion. They're way off.
Why is everyone lying about gas prices? Like, do you really believe we can't look this shit up? I know you can't look this up.
No one deals in your weird witchcraft weights and measures from Canada, okay? I don't even know how to fucking calculate that. I've got to go buy a fucking 2-liter to figure it out. I have no idea.
Why is everyone lying about gas prices and egg prices? Why all the lies and propaganda? Well, it's because there's no good news and the economy is completely tanking. And, you know, when you want to speak to the masses, the poor and uneducated, you got to tell them gas prices are dropping and it makes them feel better. That's where they feel their economy at. They don't feel it in the stock market. Of course, there's a lot of people feeling it at home right now that have lost their jobs. we have somehow transitioned into this bizarro world where completely collapsing the entire economy is a good thing. Yeah. We have talked extensively about gas prices under a new Trump administration for long before the election took place. And I have said 1,000 times, there's two ways Donald Trump can lower gas prices in the United States, the way he wants to do it. Either get OPEC to completely flood the market and tank everything, or create an economy that just completely collapses, right?
It is Pi Day. The boys asked, they went for a haircut today, and they asked if they could have pizza for Pi Day. I think they went to Papa John's. I wasn't there when they got back.
In the United States, the way he wants to do it. Either get OPEC to completely flood the market and tank everything, or create an economy that just completely collapses, right? Just collapse the entire economy. That's the two ways Donald Trump could do the things he promised to do. Yeah. He could easily lower gas prices a little bit by just letting the economy.
Oh, shit. That's my bad.
Do what it does. Gas prices were on a downward trajectory for the last couple of years. He didn't have to do anything. Gas prices were already going to be lower. He was going to get credit for that no matter what, and that's fine, because lower gas prices are good for the American people. But you don't crash the entire U.S. economy to achieve that. It doesn't matter if someone saves 10 cents a gallon on gas when $300,000 has been wiped out of their retirement fund.
Well, that's true.
How is it we're sitting here and people are celebrating the collapse of the economy? It looks like we're headed for a recession. I hope we're not, but it looks like we are. How is that something to celebrate? What freaking planet do we live on? This is why education is our best defense against tyranny.
I've literally seen examples of people saying, "Yeah, it sucks right now. Yeah, it sucks for me. Yeah, fucking." I don't know if you guys have never heard a joke. I don't need to know how to actually calculate liters into gallons. It was a joke. But people in MAGA are like, yeah, it sucks. Yeah, we're struggling. Yeah, but at least people are struggling more than I am.
What freaking planet do we live on? This is why education is our best defense against tyranny. A well-informed society does not do stupid shit like this. No, that's what we do. That's what we do, because we're not the brightest bulbs in the drawer, obviously. Thanks.
People are trying to do it. I just downloaded some data from the Doge website, and most of it looks fine. This is from, it says download this data from the executive branch. It says head count is 2,252,162 employees, with the average employee has worked here 10 years, and it says it's got those laid out in bar graphs. Subordinate offices, 16,436 subordinate offices. The average salary of the government employee is $93,000. $211.3 billion in total wages. The average employee is 47 years old. So some of that makes sense. So it says column name, column value, office ID, office name is executive branch, aggregate age 20 to 24, 25 to 29, 30 to 34, 35 to 39, 40 to 44, 45 to 49, 50 to 54, 55 to 59, 60 to 64, 65 plus. Aggregated age under 20 is 0. So no one under 20 works anywhere in the executive office or executive branch, which is weird. Aggregated annuity total. Aggregated DC employee count, 160,000. Aggregated employee count, 2,252,000. That looks right. Aggregated not telework eligible. I thought nobody was teleworking. 954,000. Here's the salaries from 100 to 109, 110 to 119. That all makes sense. 200,000, 219,000. 20 to 29,000. That has to be 220. People that are making over 400,000, 1,000 of them. Then it goes back to 40 to 49K. Where are these blocks coming from, dude? People that are making over 450,000 to 500,000. 2. One person making 500,000 plus. One person in the executive branch is making 500,000 plus. That's kind of interesting. That's not listed on their graph. This will get the Q-tards going. Just wait. Aggregated salary less than 20K. 80 people are making less than $20,000 working for the federal government. Aggregate total salary is $211 billion. Aggregated salary unspecified. 14,000 people didn't specify salary. Eligible counts for telework. $1.2 million. I thought nobody was doing telework. We can make sure I'm right. Add the commas in. I thought everybody had to return to office. Presidential salary is $400,000 a year, so it shouldn't be President Trump, right? Isn't the presidential first of all his retards think he doesn't get paid, but it's $400K a year, so it shouldn't be over $500K. Why is there 1.2 million doing telework? Telework unspecified 26, and then it goes into tenure. Okay, so we have tenure. How long have you been with the company? 10 to 14, 15 to 19, 1 to 2, 20 to 24, 25 to 29, 30 to 34, 35 plus, 3 to 4, 5 to 9. Then the very bottom line, check this out. Aggregated tenure less than 1 year is 217,000. Children underscore counts. What the fuck is this? And why is this on your website? This is not listed in any. Why would we be listing the children, how many children these federal employees have? Here's the website that apparently this data is feeding into, right? There's no mention about children on this. Small independent agencies, medium independent agencies, largest independent agencies, cabinet level, head count, tenure, subordinate offices, salary, total wages, age. Why would there be children underscore counts? 16,000 children. That's weird, no? I wonder what the Q-tards think about it. Surely 2.2 million people have more than 16,000 children. I wonder what the fuck that is. What the fuck does school systems mean? You think children are employed at the school system? I don't know why it's there, but they go to school, I don't think is an answer. For 2.2 million people, 16,436. Where did they pull this data from? All workforce data, OPM. Workforce data excludes military, postal service, White House. So the White House isn't included in this either. Okay, let's grab this. Data definitions, FedScope, raw data sheets, human resources, data submission delays may indicate, data cubes, diversity, employment trend, diversity trend, ascensions trend, diversity trend, separations, diversity trend. Raw data sets. Weird. Y'all are making really weird excuses for what this is the government website that's supposed to tell you how much people make. Why the fuck would they include data that you can download of how many kids are in daycare? Or they go to school, or there's really weird excuses to make for why this data is here, and there's a big download button for it. Like, imagine I send you data, and I'm like, "This is what you bought at Walmart today," right? And it's your receipt from Walmart, and then I say you've had 17 bowel movements in the last 3 months. You'd be like, oh, well, of course, that's how many times I shit in the last 3 months. You wouldn't say, wonder why they put how many times I shit on my Walmart receipt. You'd be like, no, that checks out. I do self-checkout. I wipe my own ass. Checks out. That's how many bowel movements I've had. Like, it shouldn't be there. It's weird that they included it, and it's not like I'm like fucking inspect element on the site. I just hit the download button. There's like I know you can't see it for the chat, but I'll move it over here. There's just like a button that says download. That's what this button means. Download this data. And it gave me 16,000 children for some reason. Wait, is it this number? Subordinate offices? Are they calling the subordinate offices their children? Where did that data just go? Hold on. Was that the same number? I had to open it again. Hold on. Children underscore counts is what they internally call their subordinate offices. They made these names up, by the way. Like anytime you see something underscore something, they've put it in as like a key term, right, that they can search later. So someone decided to call subordinate offices children underscore counts. Like, I understand office underscore name. It's the name of the office. Office underscore ID. It's the ID number of the office. Column name, column value. Children underscore counts is the name for subordinate offices? How fucking weird. Ever heard of parent companies? Yes. You ever heard the government come out and say, we're a parent company and we have children companies? No. They're not companies to begin with. They in school. Why didn't you stick with that answer? Anyways, Doge is always wrong. I don't know how else to put it. This is their savings, their wall of receipts. Named it. Elon does know about having kids. He's got them everywhere. Oh my God. We're back to the bowel movements. This actually has links. So Bureau of Land Management, EEO, DEIA support. A is obviously for accessibility. And we click on it, we get this award type purchase order. Prepared date was 3/4/2025. Last modified 3/4/2025. This is something that they've made. Right? Because this doesn't link you to like the contract. This doesn't link you to the grant. This doesn't link you. This is something that they've made. They made it on the same day that they last modified it and the day they approved it, allegedly, and closed it within 2 minutes of each other. Prepare date and all the other dates match. The last modified close date and approved date. All the times match on it. And they went down here and typed in action obligated, negative $57,000. Negative $57,000, negative $57,000. $237,000 total. Completion date 1/22/34. This was 2 days after Trump took office. It was supposed to be completed. Who is it for? It comes from the Federal Procurement Office. Erica Faith Tournay, maybe? Fee paid for use of IDV. Contracting agency 9300. Contracting office ID. Founding agency or funding agent ID. Funding office ID. Contracting office agency name. Federal Mediation and Conciliation. FMCS. Legal business name. Coricia Briscoe Enterprises. HR strategy and compliance training. Okay, so this is probably some type of training that they label DEI. A. Support professional other human resources consulting services. There's got to be a better way to lay out this data. They're out of Little Rock, Arkansas. Corporate entity. It's a minority-owned business, black-owned business, a disabled veteran-owned business. Veteran-owned business, woman-owned business, women-owned business, women-owned small business, all awards, for-profit, limited live LLC, self-certified small disadvantaged business. Pulaski County, Little Rock, Arkansas. Huh. Weird. Let's look at another one. Change management and business reengineering. Legal database that allows lawyers to conduct research and prepare for litigation. What? Is this Westlaw? West Publishing. Reuters. So they canceled. I don't know if you guys heard this. They canceled all of the subscriptions for Westlaw. for federal prosecutors and attorneys for Westlaw, all because Elon Musk had a spat with Reuters. Not Reuters, the media agency, but Thomas Reuters, the research corporation, right? The separate entity. It's online legal research and a database for, like, you know how when we read a court case and they say, well, in this court, the court ruled in this decision, blah, 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 v, blah, 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 page 187 through blah, blah, blah. That's all gone. I don't know if they expect him to get their own subscriptions. Or what, not prosecuting anybody. I don't know what they plan on doing. It's probably for if I wanted to get a plan, it's probably a couple $100 a month. I don't know about big corporate entities and how they do it, but this is because Elon Musk hates Westlaw, the paper. I'm sorry, Reuters, the paper, and he thinks they're tied to Thomas Reuters. Well, they kind of are. It's like a parent company, obviously, but they do a lot more than just media. This is where he accused them of doing some type of weird psyop or whatever. This is for 43,000, 77,000, 192. Base and exercise options value. I'd like to know how they're getting this total. So it says action obligation is $43,068.32. Base and exercised options value is $43,068.32. Then for some reason it says total $77,976. But if you add those two together, that's not the total. And then it says base and all options value $192,891. Where are they drawing that number from? Action obligation, base, and option values. Total. Hold on just a second. 77, 976.80. Plus 43,068.32. That's still not right. It's 164,000. So even if you added these, the two 43,000s plus the 77,000, I don't even think they know what they're doing, so it doesn't. So again, it says support professional market research publications. It's for law libraries and archives. Gone. Westlaw Precision subscription option for 1 year. Canceled for everybody. Don't we want them to have Westlaw? I mean, if anything, it makes their job easier. Yes, you can buy archives of books, right? You can get appendiums and all that shit of books of all this. Like there's one called, I can't remember what the name of it is. It's just Supreme Court rulings. It's called the Federal Register or something, Register or something. Anyways, it's just Supreme. But we have one set of books. Are we all going to share them across the nation? Or are we going to buy everybody a set of books? And then how much slower is it to look all this up versus having an online database? Because you're not going to get any of these for free. They're incredibly expensive. I don't understand the point of canceling a Westlaw subscription, I guess. It's my current issue. I just watched a guy go over this. There's a really good guy on TikTok. Hold on, let me see if I can do this. If you want to learn about how like the law works, the Constitution works, the government works, there's a really good guy on TikTok. It's kind of dry, it's kind of boring, but I will show him to you. If I can find him relatively quick. Oh, right off the bat. There you go. His name is at BRYNODC. BRYNODC. This guy on TikTok, he teaches law and civics literally on TikTok. Some of it's relevant, some of it's not. Some of it's just like classes. It's pretty dry, but he goes through everything, and shows you where to find it and what's going on. Due process. He goes over the separation of powers, like everything that's federalism, the Constitution, what it separates, and like all rights are given to the states after that. Anyways, he just did one on all the like legal library and the books and shit. It was a while back, but he did one. Federalism and separation of powers. Again, it's kind of dry, but he does a good job.
There's a secret map hidden right in the pages of the U.S. Constitution that tells you exactly what you need to know about how our government is put together. Sure, it's no secret map to a hidden treasure, but it's pretty exciting nonetheless. I'm Brian, and I will show it to you. I teach videos about law, civics, history. These are not the most popular videos online, so please comment, share, repost, get this out there so people see it. Because this is important information, you deserve to understand how your...
Oh, not to mention if we're going to buy the books, they get updated all the fucking time, right? Anytime there's a new case, especially if it's like prevalent in case law, they get updated all the time. So now we're buying more books.
And government work. All right, let's get started. First, let's take a look at the U.S. Constitution. We have 7 articles and then a bunch of amendments. And it's not that the rest of the amendments aren't important, but we're going to stop today with number 10, right at the end of the Bill of Rights. Now, before we go any further, we got to talk about where America was when these things were written. Because America had just gotten out of 2 pretty bad relationships when they came up with the U.S. Constitution. First, you had the relationship with King George, the people who were supposed to be representing us in the House of Commons, and George's judgy friends in the House of Lords. So we got these 13 colonies, now 13 states, who were supposed to be represented by the House of Commons, but they didn't elect any of them, so they weren't really representing them. And then King George gets his authority from God, narcissist. So they broke up with George, but then they started dating Art. Art, to his friends, or Articles of Confederation, was sort of the opposite of King George. Where King George was all authority, Art had no authority.
It's called the Supreme Court Reporter. The Supreme Court Reporter is what I was trying to think of. I guess it's kind of in the title. It's Westlaw's version of only Supreme Court opinions, all the way back to 1882.
Art was nothing but a legislature with no executive and not really a judiciary to speak of. So as these states started to fight with each other, there was nobody there to settle the disputes. If you went from one state to another, your rights changed completely. Trade wars broke out between them, and nobody could settle them. It was a disaster. It went really badly. So the Constitution came along to find a Goldilocks happy medium between those 2 options. Okay, so here we are, writing the Constitution, trying to find our Goldilocks.
All right, let's go.
Drawing our map. So the first thing we know is we have our articles and our amendments. So we're going to draw a wall between those 2. We got our wall. Okay.
The wall is federalism.
Okay, so think of the Constitution as divided by a wall between the articles and the amendments. Everything above the wall is something the federal government can do. Everything below the wall is something the government can't do.
They're showing one person. Doge is showing one person within the executive branch. It's making over $500K a year. Base salary.
Okay, well, what does that mean? Well, if you open up the Constitution and start to look, you're going to see a bunch of what are called enumerated powers. Enumerated means numbered, which means on a list. These are listed powers, listed out. There's a list of powers. Anything that is on the list of enumerated powers, the federal government can do.
These are the powers up here. These are your rights down here. And anything not listed up here for the federal government goes to the states.
Anything that is not on the list of enumerated powers, the federal government can't. So who can do them? Right here. Anything that is not on the federal government's can-do list is reserved for the state's can-do list. So let me give you an example. Back in the days when the US was dating art, we had a problem because states were having little conflicts with each other. The general idea, not the rule, but the general idea, is that anything that happens totally inside of the state is kind of left to the state. Anything that crosses over a state border into another state is left up to the federal government. That way the same laws applied no matter which state you're crossing over into. Note that I said generally before you come at me in the comments.
This is where the sovereign citizens get their interstate travel. I'm just a traveler, I'm not driving kind of bullshit from.
If you want to see the actual list of enumerated powers, Article 1, Section 8. But generally, when I look at the powers that go to the federal government instead of the state government, most of them seem to me anyway to be either international or things that cross state lines. But again, that's not the rule, it's just something that I've noticed. So as an example, I'll use crime. Most criminal statutes are written just for inside of a particular state. But the federal government also writes criminal statutes. What are those for? Well, if you commit a crime while crossing a state line, that's when federal criminal statutes apply. Otherwise, if you committed the crime in both of these states, how would we know whether to apply this state's criminal law or that state's criminal law? This settles that controversy. So generally, things that cross state lines are above the wall and left to the federal government. Things that stay within the state lines are below the wall and left to the state governments. This wall has a name, and that name is federalism. Federalism is the dividing wall between the federal government and state governments, and it's built into the Constitution and part really of the dividing line between the Articles and the Amendment. But it's not the only line between the Articles and the Amendments. We'll get there in a second. First, I'm going to talk about the other major division that comes from our breakup with George and our second breakup with Art. Articles 1, 2, and 3 of the U.S. Constitution each define a different branch of the U.S. government. After dealing with the Articles of Confederation, we decided that having an entire government that was just a legislature was not going to work. But we already knew that we didn't want one that was totally...
He does a good job explaining it. I know this isn't everybody's thing, but I would love to take a class on constitutional law.
...reliant on a really strong executive, especially one that was chosen by God. So instead, we did something different. Each of these three articles sets up a different branch of government, which are also separated by a big wall, although it's a little bit harder to draw. After learning our lesson from King George and Art, we decided to have an executive, a judiciary, and a legislature that were each equal and separated by sort of a wall themselves. We created a three-part government where each part of the government is separated by its own wall. Our own legislature...
Have you guys seen the clip? So everybody's leaning pretty heavily into this Trump can't read or spell. Have you guys seen the clip from where he was on The Apprentice and the guy spells out passion? He's like, what did you do? He doesn't say the word. He spells it out. And he's like, what? What happened?
Executive and judiciary each need one of the other branches to come on board in order to get anything done. The legislature can pass laws, but the president needs to sign them. The Supreme Court can issue a decision, but the legislature can overpower it with a constitutional amendment. The president can appoint someone, but the legislature has to approve it. Each check has a balance, and that's how our system was designed. So we have our federalism wall here, and our three separation of power walls here. But the Constitution has one more secret hidden in it, because these weren't just 13 colonies or 13 states. Inside each of these states is a bunch of people. And one of the most important lessons we learned from the American Revolution was it wasn't just the governments that needed protecting. It was also the individual people. So there's one more big important thing hiding in the Constitution, and it's right here in cannot do. Below this wall are the amendments. And these amendments each list things that the federal government cannot do to individuals within the states, not just the states themselves. This was a bit more ahead of its time. Now, when this was...
So it's Congress, the executive branch, legislative branch is 1, 2, and 3. Then the wall of federalism after 7, the 7 articles, and then the amendments that protect the people.
Written, it only applied to the federal government. Later on, some of these rights would be extended so that the states couldn't do these things to individuals either. But this would take time. The point is that as we were creating the federal government and recognizing the need for it, we were recognizing the strengths and weaknesses of the federal government and the state governments to enforce and to protect the rights of people. And you can see that in the actual layout and structure of the Constitution. So one more time, there are 3 major concepts built into the structure of the Constitution. First, separation of powers built into the Articles. Second, federalism distributing power between the federal and state governments. And third, the amendments protecting the individual rights of people within the states from their government. Okay, that was a lot. If you can remember that there's a divide between the Articles and the amendments, that Articles 1, 2, and 3 are the 3 branches of government, and that the amendments protect individuals, that's a good way to walk away from this video. I am running today on the coffee that was sent by Stephanie Ray, so thank you. Anybody else who wants to support me?
All right, so that was one of the first videos I think I saw of his. We'll go to some of his more recent stuff, because sometimes he'll pick up like a recent story, like can Trump do this, or can the executive branch do this? And then he'll go in and break it down. Due process, part 4, the 9th Amendment, expanding the Bill of Rights. Let's watch this pinned video.
Stop scrolling if you do not know what the 9th Amendment of the Constitution means. Please share, comment, get this out there. This is really important information about your Constitution. The more you share, the more people learn. This is going to be another one of my constitutional architecture videos, so we are going to start with our map. If you haven't seen it before, go back and watch one of the other videos. It might save you some time. For now, here we go. Okay, I'm going to do a real quick refresher on this map. This is our wall of federalism. Federalism separates the federal national government from everything else in the Constitution. Above the federalism wall are...
The 9th Amendment basically says that just because it isn't in the Constitution doesn't mean that it's not a right that's given to the people, right? Just because it's not listed.
7 articles. The first, second, and third articles of the Constitution define the powers of Congress, the executive branch, and the judiciary. These orange walls represent the separation of powers. Everything above the wall is something the federal government can do. Everything below the wall is something the federal government cannot do. Below the wall, we have our first 10 amendments, the Bill of Rights, our states, and all of the people that live in our states. Now, I want to stop for a second and have a little conversation with you about the difference between rights and powers. Let's start with a power. A power is something exercised by the government against someone, against its citizens, against the states, against another country, but the powers of our federal government are listed up here. State governments also have powers, and we'll talk about those in a second. Now, let's talk about a right. A right is something held by an individual as a protection against the government. Our most well-known constitutional rights in this country are listed in Amendments 1 through 8 of the U.S. Constitution. These amendments act as shields around the individual.
I would assume that, well, most average Americans don't know anything about this, right? They know they'll scream First Amendment, they'll scream Second Amendment. That's about it, right? And when you say, like, Trump can't do this, well, he's doing it. Yes, he can, if he says so. Like, they don't. But I would imagine that even the very, very, very little bit I know about the U.S. government, if I looked at the Canadian government, I'd be like, what the fuck? This is so complicated.
Individuals against the power of the government. I'm going to show you an example now, but it's one that would not work in real life. Let's say it's just a few years into this whole America thing, and I am a farmer in New Hampshire. That's me. I decide I want to start printing a newspaper about how much I hate Congress, and I am going to sell that newspaper in Massachusetts. Well, Congress does not like this, and one of the specific powers that Congress has is the power to regulate interstate commerce. So Commerce writes a law that says, I am not allowed to print newspapers and sell them across state lines. In other words, Congress has taken one of their powers that is enumerated in the first article, something they can do, and exercised it against me. But Congress doesn't know what they're dealing with because I have a secret weapon. Right here in the First Amendment, I have a shield against Congress, a right that protects my freedom of speech. So as Congress exercises their power, I exercise my right. And Congress's power, whew, shoots right off. Okay, what I just demonstrated is what happens when a power and a right collide. But understand that a power comes from the government and a right protects the human. As an aside, when a power hits a right, it doesn't always shoot off into nowhere. Sometimes there's some negotiation to see which one is stronger. But both the power and the right come from the Constitution. So how do we decide which one is more important? Well, that's pretty much the entire body of constitutional law. Trying to balance powers against rights and decide how we decide which one wins. Usually there's some little tests in there and they try.
I wish he'd put his microphone up higher. I don't like the echoey.
In some way to preserve the best parts of both. Sometimes they succeed, sometimes they fail. But that's actually not what we're here to talk about. I just needed to define powers and rights for a minute, at least as we're going to talk about them here. But one more time, up here we have powers, down here we have rights. What about these two? While the articles define the powers of government and 1 through 8 define the rights of individuals, 9 and 10 do something a little bit different. They're both a little less concrete than the others, a little more ethereal up in the clouds, and they're also kind of similar. They're kind of cousins. So we're going to start with 10, even though we've already done 10. You can go back and watch that video. So the 10th Amendment says the powers not delegated to the United States by the Constitution, nor prohibited by it to the states, are reserved to the states respectively or to the people. The most important word here for what we're talking about right now is the word powers. The 10th Amendment is only talking about powers, not
powers, not rights. Because 9 talks about the rights, right? So powers are something that the government can do, or rights are something that protects you from it. So people say that 10 gives the state ability to put out rights, and it doesn't. It gives them powers, not clarified.
About rights. And it talks about distributing those powers between the federal government and the state government, whether the people are involved. We have a whole video on that, but it's only about powers. So what about rights? Well, now it's time to talk about its cousin, the 9th Amendment. The 9th Amendment says, the enumeration in the Constitution of certain rights, right here, number 1 through 8, shall not be construed to deny or disparage others retained by the people. So what is this saying? The 9th Amendment says, okay, we have 8 rights listed in the Constitution, but the fact that there are only 8 listed does not mean that there are only 8 constitutional rights. The 9th Amendment tells us that these 8 rights listed here,
it doesn't put a limit. There is no limit, right, on rights.
8 shields against government power are not the only rights. There are 8 listed rights, but the Constitution implies others. Other rights are implied, other protections are implied, other shields are implied. And
all rights reserved.
They are implied by the 9th Amendment. Okay, great. This is lovely and philosophical. What do we do with this information? Well, let's talk case law. Now, I am going to stick to a case called Griswold v. Connecticut on this one. There aren't a lot of cases about the 9th Amendment, but I think this is the best one, and so this is the one I'm going to do. But Griswold's also a really good example of why we don't have any firm case law on the 9th Amendment. Griswold v. Connecticut was about the right of a doctor to prescribe the pill to a married woman. There's a whole side conversation, because it's 1965, about whether it should be prescribed to unmarried women. Whatever. But the question is, should a married woman who had made a decision with her husband to control
Make America great again.
their own family planning be stopped
Women can't have medication unless they're married.
from making those decisions?
Fucking lunatics.
5 justices did agree that she should not be stopped, and they all agreed on one opinion. But 3 of them added a concurring opinion. If you've watched one of my videos on concurring or plurality opinions, you'll see how this all plays out. But even if they all agree on the same outcome, if only 3 of them agree on part of the opinion, that opinion does not become law. So let's look at the 2 opinions real fast. Now, the main opinion, the opinion of the court, looked at the 1st, 3rd, 4th, and 5th amendments, and said that all of these amendments kind of had one thing in common. They all revolved around the central concept of privacy. Under the 3rd Amendment, the government can't just walk into your house with a bunch of soldiers and tell you to house them. But this was rooted in an idea that you were allowed to lead a private life inside of your house. 4th
Everybody forgets the 3rd Amendment.
Amendment keeps you safe from warrantless search and seizure. Same idea, privacy. The court found this privacy idea at the core of all of these different amendments. And even though the word privacy wasn't listed anywhere, the court said there was a penumbra around all of this that included privacy. Penumbra is the court's word, not mine. The primary opinion of the court finds that we have privacy based on these amendments. It uses the 14th Amendment to apply it to the states, and the pill was universally made available. But a concurring opinion was released by 3 of the black robes, hanging on the 9th Amendment. The opinion was written by Justice Goldberg, not Ginsburg. The Chief Justice at the time and Justice Brennan concurred. They said that the 9th Amendment was proffered to quiet expressed fears that a bill of specifically enumerated rights could be sufficiently broad to cover all essential rights, and that the specific mention of certain rights would be interpreted as a denial that others were protected. In other words, this wasn't going to be enough, and they didn't want people thinking that just because these were listed, that was the end of the list. The justice goes on. While this court has had little occasion to interpret the 9th Amendment, it cannot be presumed.
This Supreme Court handles extremely complex stuff, and some of their opinions are just like fucking mind-blowing the way they walk through it. Then other times, they sound like complete fucking morons.
That any clause in the Constitution is intended to be without effect. And this is key because a lot of times people like to gloss over some of these things and be like, it's not really important. It is important. It wouldn't be there if it wasn't important. To hold that a right so basic and fundamental and so deep-rooted in our society as the right of privacy in a marriage may be infringed because that right is not guaranteed in so many words by the first 8 amendments to the Constitution is to ignore the 9th Amendment and give it no effect. Okay, so they're saying here that privacy in the marriage is so fundamental, it has to be included in those 9th Amendment rights. To not include it would be to assume that the 9th Amendment means nothing, which we know we can't do. The entire fabric of the Constitution and the purposes that clearly underlie its specific guarantees demonstrate that the rights to marital privacy and to marry and raise a family are of a similar order and magnitude as the fundamental rights specifically protected. So unfortunately, this concurring opinion is not law. 3 people writing it does not make it case law, but it is a highly, highly cited opinion. It laid the groundwork for Roe. It's laid the groundwork for a lot of stuff. A whole lot of case law relies on Griswold. And even though Griswold relies primarily on this argument up here, this penumbras of rights argument, underlying it are 3 out of 5 justices saying, okay, penumbra, sure, but really this is a 9th Amendment argument. And to ignore the 9th Amendment is something we cannot do. I'll tell you, I came into this even after...
That's why when people say Roe v. Wade should have been codified, or even arguments about it, it was made under a privacy argument, basically, right? It's your health care, and you should expect privacy around that.
Possible not knowing a lot about the 9th Amendment because people don't talk about it a lot. I feel much better having read this now, and I certainly feel like I have a pretty strong argument when people tell me that rights that aren't expressly written in the Constitution don't exist. The 9th Amendment is written in the Constitution, and it would argue against that pretty strongly. I would like your comments. What do you think? How does this play out today? How could this information be used? Go take a look at Griswold, go take a look at Roe, and feel free to go read the other opinion and see what you think about the penumbra argument. Do you think it's stronger than the 9th Amendment argument? You guys are learning more and more every day, and I would really like to hear your opinions, so bring them out. Cecilia, Alexandra, and Jeremy, Mike, and...
All right, if I can tell you anything, check this guy out. If you're interested in stuff like that, I'm not going to keep watching his videos because they're kind of dry about Supreme Court decisions and civics, but he does a pretty good job, I think. I think he does a decent job. Too much doom and gloom. I got a police video for you. Are you excited? You better be. Y'all are draining the life from me.
On September 25th, 2023, in Marshfield, Wisconsin, officers responded to a minor traffic crash involving a flabbergasted female.
Address Marshfield 2015 Honda Civic.
This one's pretty wild. This isn't a don't look up my ass one, but it's pretty wild. You can already hear somebody screaming. Hold on. As soon as he gets out of the car, somebody's screaming already.
To a minor traffic crash involving a...
This is why we don't, or we shouldn't, prescribe pills to unmarried women. Who knows what they're doing with them?
Flabbergasted female.
Hey, Dr. J. Why is she already screaming?
Oh my God! Why are you? Get away from me!
Who's involved?
What'd he say to her, ma'am? Something?
Oh my God! Why are you? Get away from me!
I don't know what he said, ma'am. It almost sounds like you're framed. You're get a brain. I don't know what he said.
Who's involved in the accident?
From what I gathered, is her. She rear-ended him because he was sitting on a light that was green, and then and I'm trying to talk to her and just calm her down, and she's like, "Officer, I have to go!
You can't leave yet."
This is gonna be a good one. Officer, I have to go. I got food in the car.
Don't leave.
I'm in the middle of an order. I have food in my car. I have food in my car.
You need to calm
I have
down.
food in my car.
Ma'am, you need to calm
I have
down.
food in my car.
She has food in her car.
Middle of an order. I have food in my car. I have food in my car.
You need to calm
I have
down.
food in my car.
Ma'am, you need to calm
I have
down.
food in my car.
Stand over here.
Leave me alone. Babe, you need to get here. You need to fucking get here.
You can go.
Thank you.
Kayla, what
Get
happened?
here now. These cops are pissing me the fuck off.
Kayla, you're not going anywhere. You're not going anywhere.
No.
All right, Kayla, you're going to be
I've never watched this video. I don't know.
detained. You're going to be detained.
Stop.
Why are you running away?
Right. He wouldn't fucking let.
Hey.
There was a green light.
There's
And he didn't go.
an accident. Why are you...
It was a green light. He didn't go.
yelling? Why are you freaking out?
I love it.
I'm in the middle of work. Please, I have to go to work.
Okay, well, you're not going anywhere.
Oh, apparently there was something else arrested at home.
I'm not going
Chris,
anywhere.
get over here.
I'm not going anywhere.
Keep running around. Sit down.
I've never seen this video. I don't know. Maybe you have, and you're giving us a spoiler. I've never seen this video.
We need to get here now. These cops they're pinning me to a corner.
Ma'am, we're trying to gather information so we can get you out of here.
I'm in front of Dickinson.
Okay?
Kayla.
My car is
Kayla.
My car is I need
Kayla.
to see if it's gonna start.
No. You're not
I
getting in
need
the
to see if
vehicle.
I'm not.
Not getting
Then
in the
can you start
You're
it?
getting detained.
No, please. Okay, I'm sorry.
You're
I'm
gonna get
sorry.
detained.
I'm sorry. Please,
Stop
please
yelling.
get here, please. The cops are trying to arrest me.
Kayla, we're not here to arrest you. Kayla, you
Kayla, can
Look how defeated he is. Look at it. She shut that shit down.
Kayla, can we sit over here, please?
Please, no.
Kayla,
Get here now, please.
we just have to conduct
Get
an
here
accident
now.
investigation, okay?
Get here now.
This could be solved very
Fuck
quickly.
off. I didn't fucking do anything. I didn't do anything.
Kayla, get out of the street. Get out of the
I
street.
didn't do anything wrong.
Atsuko had her class finals for her sumo wrestling master class.
Kayla, settle down.
I'm in front of my car is fucked. My life is over. Why
Let's
did
just
you
gather
go?
up the information.
Now she's gonna attack that old man. Jesus Christ! They're in a little parking thing, like off the side.
It was great.
Kayla,
You realize you can't, everybody knows you can't hit somebody for setting at a green light, right? Like whether they didn't see it change or they're fixing a turn or driving something. You can't hit somebody. Like, she doesn't understand this?
We just have to do an accident investigation. Kayla. Calm down. Kayla, please, we can see if it starts. Yeah, we can do that.
She's got to be on something. Yeah, she's on the clock. She's an Uber driver.
Kayla.
Well, she's on.
Hey. It's okay.
She'll never get a tip now.
Is it leaking anything? Hey, Kayla.
Listen to that. Listen to how strong that echo is, dude. That is some lung capacity.
It's okay. It's okay. Is it leaking anything? Hey, Kayla.
It was like 3 distinct echoes coming back off that building.
Do you have insurance? Imagine being the old guy in the pickup truck.
This car's perfectly fucking fine, though!
Kayla, it's okay.
Oh my god!
It's okay. Kayla.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Can you log a phone number for Jeremiah in the log? No, it doesn't matter. My car is ruined. For attention, but my car is ruined.
It looks drivable, Kayla. It looks drivable.
My car is ruined.
It looks like it just bent the hood.
Are you laughing? I'm not. Mom.
He was laughing.
My car is ruined. Why are you laughing? I'm not.
He was.
Mom, I want to fucking kill myself. I want to go and I'm going to fucking kill myself. I'm done. I'm done. This is insane.
Kayla, your radiator's fine.
Kill yourself.
Your radiator's fine.
I'm gonna get a picture quick and I'm gonna get you out of here.
Are you okay?
He hasn't said a word the whole time. The cop's like, I'm going to take a picture and we'll let you go. Okay? We got some other issues going on here.
Are you okay?
Oh my god.
Your radiator's not.
Shut up.
You should be able to drive it. You're not leaving.
Do we have another unit coming?
Yeah, I got someone. I asked for one. I don't know who's coming
The
down.
light was green. It was green.
We just gotta get some pictures.
No. No.
What? No. I will hide it. No.
Well, there's no damage to his, it doesn't seem like. There's just damage to yours.
Yeah, I know. Great. Funny. Great. Get away from me.
This is how an accident.
Stop. Don't talk to me.
Kayla, why are you
Don't
freaking out?
talk to me.
Why are you freaking out?
Well, now he's going to take a picture. You left.
Really not too much.
I'm so fucked. I can't fix this. I can't fix this. Oh my god.
Screaming at it will pop that dent right out.
Oh my god.
Kayla,
This is the crazy going on in my head every day. I just never let it out.
I can't fix this.
okay. Kayla, get out of the street.
No.
Get out of the road! Get out of the road!
Leave me alone.
Get out of the road!
Leave me alone.
I'm not gonna leave.
Get the fuck out of my face.
If you keep yelling,
Leave me alone.
listen, if you keep yelling,
I don't
hang up.
care. Leave me alone. Leave me alone.
How do you de-escalate this one?
Leave me alone.
It's a pretty simple accident investigation.
Fuck off.
Stupid bitch is trying to look in my ass. They always look at my ass.
I'm not doing anything.
No, you're not going on the road.
I'm not.
You're not going to go on the road.
This is insane. This is insane. I can't believe it. Oh! Fuck you. You guys are fucking pricks.
You get pictures, Chris?
No.
Do you have what you need for an accident report?
Yeah, we have what we need from the gentleman.
Okay. Do you want to tell us what happened?
No. The light was green and he didn't go.
Okay. Officer Berg will create accident report. You want the case number?
Yourself.
Okay. You have her current information?
Do you have insurance?
I'm not giving you anything.
Do you have insurance?
I'm not giving you anything.
All right, well, we'll just give her a citation for no proof of insurance.
Okay, give me a citation. I don't care.
That's fine.
What am I getting a citation for?
I already explained it to you. I'm not going to sit here and debate with you.
I'm not giving you anything. We'll give her a citation. What for?
I'm not giving you anything.
All right, well, we'll just give her a citation for no proof of insurance.
Okay, give me a citation. I don't care.
That's fine.
What am I getting a citation for?
I already explained it to you. I'm not going to sit here and debate with you.
Insurance card.
You just told me that I should kill myself and fuck you. That's what you told us. You have insurance. You were involved in an accident. You need to provide insurance.
I don't have the information.
Then who is it, Caleb?
I don't know.
Okay, would you like to give it to us at some point? You want to tell us what happened?
The light was fucking green, and my tires are bald, and I slid into his truck.
Okay.
Oh, that's more of an explanation than I got.
Your tires are bald?
That's what Cheryl told me.
Okay. When was that?
The other day.
Can you come off the road?
No, I want to get fucking hit by a car.
Why?
I'm fucked.
Why? It's an accident.
I can't afford to fix this.
You probably don't have to fix it that much.
You guys are fucking retarded. Straight up fucking stupid.
Okay. I'm not going to put up with that. All right.
I don't.
Good luck.
An insurance card. My insurance is through a
Say good luck and just leave.
different state.
Through what? Okay. You can call Officer Berg tomorrow and let him know who your insurance is.
No.
Okay. Well, then you will be cited for that.
That's fine.
Okay.
I don't care.
All right.
I can take care of all the crash report stuff. It doesn't matter. I don't know.
So she rear-ended the car. Yeah. So bad ticket and then no insurance. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Easy enough.
My goodness.
Kayla was charged with disorderly conduct for her behavior.
Jesus Christ, dude. What? So it's the flabbergasted woman. We may have watched the flabbergasted, I guess, cop video. Didn't I make fun of her for saying flabbergasted? This one, I guess. Oh, this, yeah. She gets arrested on this one. Shakira flabbergasted.
On March 19th, 2023, in Marshfield,
That's what
Wisconsin,
I guess Jilly was talking about.
a distressing
I've never seen the other one.
call was received from a female urgently requesting an officer's assistance, but refusing to provide further information. The call was accompanied by the sounds of a male shouting in the background. In response, officers were promptly dispatched to the location traced through the ping of the female's cell phone.
I think it's here.
Right here. It's this apartment right here. We have seen this one.
Police department! Police department, open the door! Police department, open the door!
Hello?
Hey, this is Officer Clark, Marshall Police Department calling you. What's going on?
It's where she claims she didn't call them, but they ring the phone in her pocket or something.
Well, we got a call from this number stating, okay, well, what apartment are you guys in? Well, we're trying to, we just want to make sure everything's okay, all right? So we just got to check on everyone.
Fine.
Okay. Well, how would you know we're knocking on the door?
We're not leaving, come to the door. Open the door.
The same woman, yeah.
What's going on?
I have to go to work. No, I have to go to work. I'm not willing to be late for work.
Okay, what's going on?
That's her.
Nothing. Nothing. I have to go to work. I don't even know where you guys are
right here. Get away from me, please. You're making me feel. I want the chief of police here. Okay. Whoever the supervisor is, I want here.
Okay, he's coming.
Okay, I have to go to work. I don't have time for this, sir. I have to go to work.
So you called it?
No, I didn't. I don't know who called you.
Okay,
I did call you.
What's your phone number? Start with that.
603-85. I'm from New Hampshire. I'm from Massachusetts originally.
Okay, so who's in the apartment with you?
Me?
There he is. He's dialing it right now. Look. He's doing it. He's doing a sneaky dial. She has no idea.
Okay, who else?
Me?
Is there someone else?
I have to get ready, sir.
Okay.
I have to go to work. I have to go to work.
We got a call.
Hello?
Hi.
Oh.
He even saw it ring. That's my favorite part.
Okay, so that's the number that called 911.
I actually have two different numbers.
That's the number that called 911.
Oh, you're right. Look.
I've got two numbers on my. I forgot about my other phone number. I got two phones.
They needed some help.
Okay,
So that's why we're here.
I have to go to work, y'all. I have to go to work. I have to go to work. I have to go to work. I'm not talking to you. I'm not speaking to you. I have to go to work.
Who else is inside? Okay.
I have to go to work. You guys are gonna cause me to lose my job. Please.
And honestly, like she could be. Somebody could have beat the hell out of her, threatened her. There could be a fucking escaped convict in there. They have no idea. That they're just trying to do their fucking job.
Let me go to work. There's no one inside. Please let me go home. Please. I have to go to work. I have to go to work, sir.
She's got a lot of jiggle on it. God, he's about to get shot. She does have a lot of jiggle upstairs.
You're gonna cause me to lose my job. Please let me go to work.
I'm sure they're atrocious, but I'd still like to see them.
There's no one inside. Please let me go home. Please. I have to go to work. I have to go to work, sir.
What the fuck are you doing?
Oh my God, stop.
Get the fuck away from me. Get the fuck away from me. Get on the ground. Get on the ground.
So all he was trying to do was protect her. He just heard her screaming. He didn't know the cops are there. And she's out in the hall screaming. She called to scare him. To say, I'm on the phone with 911. You're going to go to jail. Because they were arguing.
My baby's in there. My baby's in there. No,
I feel bad for this guy, dude. I would come out ready to swing if I just heard Mariah right outside the door screaming. I'd get shot, though.
I didn't do anything. I thought you guys were hurting my wife. I didn't do anything.
Officer! I can't breathe! You just chased my boyfriend for no reason!
All right. If you haven't seen the video before, put a 1 in the chat if you think she goes to jail. Put a 2 in the chat if you think he goes to jail. Put a 3 in the chat if you think they both go to jail. 1 for her, 2 for him, 3 for both.
You need to.
No, I can't breathe. No!
You're gonna go up?
I can't go!
Let's go.
Oh my God! I can't believe this!
I gotta adjust this cuff too. Okay, hold on. I'm just tighten down when she was pulling one side. No, you are not.
You! Fuck you!
Brandon, your first name, right? Yes, Brandon, all we had to do was talk about that, right? Okay. That's all we want to do when we came here. Can we sit you up?
Can you take the taser out of my leg, please?
We want to sit you up so you're not laying on, okay?
Guys, I didn't do anything wrong.
You came out tensed up at us, man. You can't be doing that.
I didn't leave my apartment.
I don't think he even knows the police were there.
I did not leave my apartment.
You can't come out trying to fight us.
He just lost
I think he went to sleep or was in the back room or something, and she's screaming.
He just lost his job. I can't afford to lose my job. Please help me. Please. Guys. Please.
This is the second time she loses her job.
Please. I'm gonna lose my job.
Have a seat here.
I'm gonna lose my job. Please don't. Please, I'm not gonna run. Why would you guys handcuff me? I wasn't running.
Okay, listen. You called 911. Just listen, all right? All right.
I called 911 because he was being a douchebag. I was just trying to threaten him with the fucking cops.
Okay, that's enough.
Oh.
Listen, you called 911. Just listen, all right? All right.
This is where they ask her her name and she says Christina Flabbergasted, right?
I called 911
Or something.
because he was being a douchebag. I was just trying to threaten him with the fucking cops.
Okay, that's inappropriate, first of all, right?
I understand that, but he wasn't doing anything, and I wasn't doing anything.
Okay, you got every police officer over here because we thought someone was being murdered, beat up, and...
No, I'm fine. You guys did all of this. He thought that you were hurting me. Of course he came out here to help me. He thought you guys were hurting me.
Okay, you called 911.
You just tased him.
Yeah.
He wasn't doing anything.
Okay, she can go on the ground.
No, please. I have to
Put your legs inside.
Sir, I have to.
Put your legs inside.
I'm trying to talk to you like a normal
person. Put your legs inside the vehicle.
Please talk to me.
No, put your legs inside the vehicle right now.
Can you please talk to me?
No, put your legs
Can you
inside.
put the window down?
We can roll the window down.
Can I please be in the... No, I want
You're under arrest for obstructing an officer, first of all.
I'm going to jail?
No, you're not going to jail. You're under arrest right now.
I have to work at noon, guys. I can't afford to lose my job.
I'm sorry.
You never thought once that you could fuck the crazy out of somebody? I've tried like hell. It never works, but... Wonder where his gun is. Or that's pretty wide. That's probably the taser side.
You shouldn't have called 911 and...
I didn't do anything, sir.
Yes, you did.
So I'm gonna
Yeah.
lose
I wonder where his taser's at.
work at noon. Please.
Put your leg in.
Put your leg in, or you will go to jail. Put your leg in the car.
She's already going to jail, bro. Put your leg in right now so we can take you to jail or you're going to jail. It reminds me of that guy, and he's like, well, if you... he says if he's got anything in his pockets, he's like, oh no, are you going to put me in jail? What is that video? You got anything in your pockets? You got any weapons on you? Yeah. You do? What are they? This right hand and this motherfucking left hand? That video, you know what I'm talking about?
You're going...
All right, no, please, I'm sorry.
Put your
Put your
leg in
down, please.
Put your leg in the car.
Please put the window down a little bit.
Put your leg in the car.
It's just a little bit.
Well, that was weird.
How you doing, Officer Bird?
She's been screaming like that for 28 years.
I'm okay. I'm gonna take care of you here, buddy.
I hope there's not going to be anything stupid from this. Nobody's hurt. I don't feel like I'm not going to make paperwork out of it. So if you need needle nose, I have needle nose in the cabinet.
Please put the window.
I'll put the window down a little bit. Stop yelling.
Please talk to me. I need to know what's going on, please, sir.
You're being arrested for 1, disorderly conduct. 2, resisting an officer.
I wasn't resisting, sir. I have to go to work at noon. Please.
That is resisting an officer.
Sir, I have to go to work at noon.
And 3, for obstructing an officer by filing a false police report, which caused us...
Hey, wasn't. I called the police because he was yelling.
Okay, you told me that you just made that up.
No, I told you he was yelling.
That he was being a douchebag. Yeah.
Sir, I can't afford to lose my job.
I'm sorry about that.
So do I have to go down to the station?
You're gonna come down to the station right now, yeah.
Please, can you bring me back now? I'm trying to be back before work, please.
No.
So is she gonna be happy?
You just screamed in my face.
I'm sorry. I have a baby I have to take care of.
Where's your baby right now?
In there.
In there?
Yes, sir. I have to go to work.
Okay.
Please, I have to go to work, please.
So who's gonna watch the baby?
I'll call out. I just have to be there for my baby. Please don't take him away from me.
All right, we're not gonna take your baby, but we gotta find somebody for him right now. We have to go through what just happened right here, and we're gonna go do that at the police department.
Okay, well, can we go now? I have to work.
Do you want to call them and just let them know you're gonna be late?
I can't. I'm the one that opens.
Well, I'm sorry, but that's not gonna happen right at this exact moment. So.
Okay, well, yeah. Can I please call them? Everything's in my phone.
Okay. Well, we'll have to go get that in a second here.
Sir, what's going on with my boyfriend?
I don't know. I'm out here talking to you. Do you think I know?
Yeah, your decision's got you here. My decision? I didn't do anything besides try getting her to calm down and cook her breakfast this morning. I didn't do anything besides cook bacon and sausages for us.
What part of cooking has you stepping through a doorway with your fist raised at police?
We have to work through what happened to make sure that nothing else happened, all right? And we're not going to rush this because you're on a time schedule.
Sir, please. Nothing happened. He was yelling and I called the cops and that is it.
Okay. You were screaming that
you guys just look for any
need to get there.
reason to arrest me. I don't get it.
I don't even know who you are.
I'm not telling you.
Okay, well then that's another reason we're not going to let you go then. She said that her boyfriend was being a douchebag and that she wanted him to get scared.
Yep, that's basically what he said.
Obstructing, disorderly conduct, and resisting, in my opinion.
Yeah. So when she started screaming like she's being right now, he came through the door like
we were hurting.
Yeah.
Yeah, like we were hurting her.
Fist up, ready to go.
Does he need to go to jail over this? There's a baby in the room in there?
Yep.
Okay, so
interviewer.
If he's rational.
Harrier.
Let's leave him there based on the circumstances.
Okay. Are you gonna stay calm?
Yes, I promise.
Okay. I need you to stay calm and cooperative at this point, all right? I'm gonna have Officer Fox unhandcuff you so you can tend to your baby.
Okay. What is your name?
Sir, I'm not yet. Please, I have to go to work.
Did she say Ferb? What is your name? Ferb.
Okay, what is your name?
I have to go to work.
I'm asking you what your name is.
Why?
So I can address you.
Shakira.
Okay, is that your name?
Shakira. You can call me Shakira.
Shakira what?
Shakira flabbergasted.
Shakira.
Shakira flabbergasted.
Why?
So I can address you.
Shakira.
Okay, is that your name?
Shakira. You can call me Shakira.
Shakira what?
Shakira flabbergasted.
Shakira flabbergasted. Okay. Do you have any mental illnesses that I need to be concerned about?
Just bring me to the fucking police station. Can someone let me call my work, please?
Not at this time.
I cannot afford to lose my job, please. Please. Can I please call my work?
Not at this time. I told you that.
Why?
Because you're under arrest.
Sir, can you call them for me? All you have to do is go in my phone.
I don't have your
I've got Shakira flabbergasted here with me, Uber Eats.
And I wasn't lying earlier. I have two different numbers on one phone. I have an eSIM card and a regular SIM card. I was not lying to you guys. I'm gonna lose my job.
I don't know what to tell you.
Sir, please just...
No, your actions are way inappropriate, and your neighbors don't have to put up with this.
Sir, I just want to make sure I don't lose my job.
I don't know what to tell you. I will call them.
Why would you tase him? He wasn't doing anything wrong. You guys are so fucking trigger happy. It's retarded. All cops deserve to get shot.
Okay.
Fucking tase my fucking husband? What the fuck kind of shit is that? There's fucking 6 of you. You guys gonna bum rush them, you fucking loser?
Bum rushed him.
Bring me to the hospital.
For what?
Bring me to the hospital.
For what?
Bring me to the hospital. I want to kill myself, and I feel like I want to kill myself. Bring me to the hospital.
Okay. Duly noted.
Bring me to
You're not going to work now.
myself. I'm having thoughts of suicide. Bring me to the hospital. Bring me to the hospital. I'm having thoughts of suicide. I want to kill myself. I'd like to talk to an officer.
Okay. What would you like to talk about?
I would like to go to the hospital. I'm feeling suicidal.
We're not going to take you to the hospital because you're going to go to jail, so.
Really?
Yep.
Wait, what is he doing then?
We're still working through that, but
Wait, why am I going to jail?
I told you that already.
Can I just get bailed out?
No.
Wait, I'm going to jail? For
Yeah.
real? Wait, why? I'm going to sleep in a prison? Sir, why am
Yes, Shakira.
For disorderly conduct, obstructing an officer.
He's not getting arrested?
We may arrest him too, yeah, but
Well, what about my baby?
we'll take care of the baby.
Oh my God, you're going to take my baby?
I'm not going to take your baby.
CPS coming to get my baby?
Did I say that? No, I did not say that at all.
Why can't I just get bailed out?
Because in
Oh my God, please, sir, please, no, please.
I'll be 1095 to the PD beginning of 74990. 74990. I don't have a name for you right now.
What's going on with my baby? Is he getting arrested? Sir, why am I getting arrested?
Because you created a giant disturbance here.
I didn't do anything. I didn't know that I was resisting. I was just trying to see if he was okay. Sir, please don't do this. I will swear to God, I will stop from here on out, guys. Please. Please.
No part of your actions have caused me to believe you.
I'm trying to talk to you like a normal person right now, sir. Please.
Okay. You have not identified yourself yet either.
My birthday is 10.
Ah, Shakira. No.
Please, sir.
No.
I guess I'm already arrested.
You are arrested, yes.
I only called because I was trying to scare him into not yelling at me anymore. I was wrong. That was wrong. I was wrong. That was illegal. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I don't know why I'm the one getting arrested.
Because of your behaviors after it.
Sir, please don't arrest me.
You are arrested right
Okay,
now.
well, please don't let me stay over the night. I promise my actions will change.
Hello, guys and gals.
My bad.
Right. I'm not seeing a significant change in your behavior, but
Okay, I'm sorry. I'll stop. I'm sorry.
just take a couple breaths. We'll talk. Hey, just take it.
Shakira, no.
You're not listening. Take a couple breaths, and we'll talk when we're at the PD. Just breathe for a couple minutes. That's all I'm asking you to do. Okay, we're gonna step by the car. We're gonna go in my booking area, and you're gonna have a seat. All right?
Officer, I really don't want to. Please, I know I don't have a choice, but guys, I didn't know that I was resisting arrest.
Okay.
There you go. That was Shakira flabbergasted everybody. Wisecrack.
Anyone else
got a new video.
bad right now? Like the type of bad where you're not sure what's just media spectacle and what is full-on fact.
The thumbnail says, "You're not crazy.
This is happening."
What I'd like to see
The Soviet strategy fueling America's decline." I'm rereading.
Trump is renamed the Gulf of Mexico, the Gulf of America.
the Gulf of America.
I'm rereading Putin's playbook. It is very, very enlightening to what's going on in America right now.
What a beautiful name.
He blamed the most tragic plane crash in recent American history on diversity.
The FAA is actively recruiting workers who suffer severe intellectual disabilities.
While Dr. Phil is out in the streets of Chicago doing ice raids.
Dr. Phil. Dr. Phil.
Yeah? How do you know me?
How do you
How the fuck would he know you, Dr. Phil?
know me?
And Elon Musk and a gang of tweens are apparently just taking over the government, and they know your social security number, so that's cool. Now, we might feel like there's little that we can do right now other than just doom scroll the pain away. But what's happening is connected to a political strategy with its roots in the Soviet Union.
I'm trying to figure out how you can come to the conclusion right now that diversity had something to do with this crash.
Because I have common sense, okay?
Now, one way that we can understand what's going on and why it's making us feel so bad is the phenomenon of hyper-normalization. Now, this concept was coined by anthropologist Alexei Yurchak to explain the twilight of Russian communism. It describes how the Soviet government's self-mythologizing propaganda was so successful that it made it impossible for people to consider alternatives to the system.
The Soviet Union became a society where everyone knew that what their leaders said was not real, because they could see with their own eyes that the economy was falling apart.
Everybody knew what their leader was saying was not true. They knew it. We knew it.
But everybody had to play along and pretend that it was real. One Soviet writer called it hyper-normalization, the fake...
Our fucking news media is pretending. Of course, the Republicans are pretending. Very few on the left are standing up and actually doing anything besides just telling you about it.
Was hypernormal.
One writer describes it as an entropic acceptance and false belief in a clearly broken polity and the myths that undergird it. The term is popularized in the work of British documentarian Adam Curtis.
The picture he gave was of a political class reduced to trying to steer society into a dark and frightening future, constantly peering forward and trying to see the risks coming towards them. Their only aim, to avoid those risks and keep society stable.
For him, hyper-normalization means this.
Politicians, financiers, and technological utopians, they constructed a simpler version of the world in order to hang on to power, allow dark and destructive forces to fester and grow outside, forces that are now returning to pierce the fragile surface of our carefully constructed fake world.
Curtis elaborates on his use of the term in an interview, saying, "We live in a world where the powerful deceive us. We know they lie. They know we know they lie. They don't care. We say we care, but we do nothing, and nothing ever changes. It's normal. Welcome to the post-truth world. Welcome indeed." While this might feel overly cynical, Curtis contends that Americans and Europeans have long known that our systems aren't working. And when journalists point this out, we all get to say, "Oh no, that's horrible," before we just get on with our day.
No one has any vision of a different or a better kind of future.
So nothing ever changes. And we might feel this recently when one day we're reading horrifying news about the climate, and the next moment we're being told
the golden age of America begins right now.
And this gap between what we're seeing in the world and what we're told the world is actually like can create a sense of detachment from reality, or a passive acceptance of the reality we're being sold, or both.
I don't even believe that some of these people are real. It's like characters, like MTG. That can't be Lauren Boebert. Those can't be real people. I feel like society as a whole would have come together and beat those people to death before they got to this point.
I felt some of this week, because right before we filmed this video, I learned that Elon Musk has recently unleashed a bunch of kids to run around Washington, D.C., disrupting departments that administer potentially life-saving services. So that's cool. And the two responses to all of this seem to be either losing one's mind or just trying to stay distracted. Let me know how you're staying distracted these days. I've been watching the television show Shrinking and watching YouTube videos about maps.
And if I look giddy, it's because I am. I love bold original maps.
One of the features of the hyper-normalized political reality of the late Soviet Union, as described,
who doesn't love maps?
The policing of language, in which a mastery over words and their meaning facilitated political control. Now we're currently seeing this at play in American politics, where a series of executive orders have focused on redefining some terms and eradicating others, all for the sake of new levels of control. For example, in the official language of the state, DEI, or diversity, equity, and inclusion, it actually means forced, illegal, and immoral discrimination programs. Now, this shift in official language turns workplace seminars on diversity and preferred pronouns in your emails into fireable offenses. Okay, before we get into it, I want to talk about this video sponsor, Magic Spoons. I've been getting older. I've been trying to cut down on sugar because it leaves me feeling just sort of sluggish and not the best version of myself. And that's why I'm super excited to tell you about
literally the absolute worst versions of like DEI and the federal government was saying, okay, well, you need to at least interview, half your applicants are probably going to be straight white males. You need to at least make the other 50% up of like women and minority groups. Not hired, Just give them interviews. That's the most restrictive DEI programs. Most of it was like, hey, you got to post it for 30 days. You have to make sure you post it to a website where people can get to. We want, if you post a paper copy, it has to be located at these places. You can't not hire somebody because they're in a wheelchair. You can't not hire them because they're black. Like, normal shit.
You might have already heard about their fantastic cereals, but today I want to highlight a couple of protein flavors like honey almond, peanut in my bag. Leave it on my to try Magic Spoon treats or granola today and get $5 off. And you can also find Magic.
There's his code if you want Magic Spoon Wisecrack, $5 off your purchase. I feel bad for skipping his ad, but I want to see the rest of the video.
On Amazon or in your nearest grocery store. And Magic Spoon is so confident in their product, it's backed with 100% happiness guarantee online. So if you don't like it for any reason, they're just going to refund your money, no questions asked. So click the link in the description to go to magicspoon.com/wisecrack or just scan the QR code on the screen for $5 off. Now, let's get back to the show. Something similar is happening in the new understanding of free speech, a right which apparently ensures the freedoms to use, vicious slurs or racial epithets, but not the ability of college students to peacefully protest.
We're not letting the radical.
Trump has said worse shit than that guy said while protesting. That's insane.
The left morons take over this country.
Even biological gender now has a specific state-sanctioned definition, with previously existing gender ideology being identified as a violent threat to women and children. One intersex writer and activist has pointed out that these definitions are not only just straight up scientifically untrue, they make her biological identity seemingly non-existent in the eyes of the state. While the executive order establishes gender at the moment of conception, Professor of Obstetrics and Gynecology Eve Feinberg points out, everybody has some combination of X and Y chromosomes, but it's not until between 9 to 13 weeks of gestation that formation of the internal reproductive organs begins, and this is not a binary male or female pathway. In case the science words got you confused there, what the doctor of stuff that happens down there is saying is that literally the government definition doesn't even make sense. It doesn't make biological sense when it's trying to define what gender is. But the government said it's true, so that makes it true, I think. Something like that. I don't know. I wish I could day drink. I could.
It is whatever gender and sex that God gave you when you were a baby in heaven before conception, when you were just chilling with angels. Within 1 year of conception. That's what it is.
Day drink, but I can't, It's worth noting that the executive order on gender calls for the rescinding of previous government documents on the issue, including things like supporting transgender youth in school. This creates moments of incongruity, as we're all very aware that trans and intersex people exist, but official government definitions of gender are now telling us that, well, they don't. It's not dissimilar to the feeling we get when we're told that the economy is booming while everyone around us is struggling, or that it's good to ramp up oil production when we're witnessing the effects of a collapsing climate. But it's about much more than just controlling language. The very platforms and mediums by which we receive information are also reinforcing this hypernormalization. While in the Soviet Union, the government's propaganda constructed reality, today, privately owned platforms determine how we understand and experience our world. And this works in a couple of different ways. Now, first, reality is mediated by the forms of media that we have access to. So only that which can be tweeted, TikToked, or Instagram becomes information worth knowing. And that which we must know is elevated by algorithms that we can't understand, much less control. A recent example is that in the days after Elon Musk did a Roman salute, the trending news bar on his platform was filled with stories about the controversy over Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez doing a Nazi salute.
Giving somebody a hug. They literally cropped this guy out.
You see what happened there is he made up a thing to distract you from the real thing that he did, and he just got to do it because he owns the
And for some reason, that was the only thing the algorithm was showing. It was weird.
platform.
Turned politics into a strange theatre, where nobody knew what was true or what was fake any longer.
Also, he's inside government offices right now getting access to all types of information about us. This is really nuts, guys. I'm not trying to freak you out, but you should be freaked out. Like you should be. That's a normal response to what's happening. But these platforms also create a distance between us and reality. As whatever happens out in the world, it's always then mediated via these platforms. So what's real isn't what happened in the world, but what these platforms say happened in the world. For example, X elevating a totally true story about Ocasio-Cortez running around New York doing Nazi salutes. And when everything is content, it's increasingly hard to distinguish between prank videos, influencer posts, clips from a war zone, sponsored content, or images of fires burning down our cities, because everything becomes part of the narrative. And the contents of this virtual reality is often at odds with actual reality.
The version of reality that politics presented was no longer believable. That the stories politicians told their people about the world had stopped making sense. And in the face of that, you could play with reality, constantly shifting and changing.
Now, Yurchak and Kurdish argue that these narratives eventually become self-fulfilling prophecies which shape our actual reality, which brings us to an even more bleak aspect of hypernormalization, feeling that there is no alternative to the system. This is what writers like Mark Fisher have referred to as capitalist realism. The idea that capitalism is the only viable political and economic system, and it's impossible to imagine any alternatives. When language and images and media platforms all communicate one specific political worldview, it can be increasingly hard to imagine anything valid existing outside the system. Instead of the explicit propaganda seen in Soviet Russia, we're seeing a similar strategy in the use of politics as content and content as politics. Whether that's Dr. Phil doing ride-alongs on ice raids.
To me, it seems that these politicians are creating...
Imagine being so bold that when the opposition party stands up and says, whoa, 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 You can't do this with Doge. They're like, we must have struck a nerve. This must be where you're funding yourself from. And they're like, no, we just don't want Medicare recipients to lose their health coverage or Social Security people to be thrown out in the streets. Nope. This is where you're secretly funding yourself.
What they fear the most, and that is forcing ICE agents into the community where they pick up the target and wind up picking up collaterals that may be around them, as opposed to going to the jail where they just get the target and leave.
Or Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem doing immigration raids in New York.
Early this morning, President Trump's new Secretary of Homeland Security, Kristi Noem, on the front lines of the administration's crackdown on undocumented immigration and promise of mass deportation.
If one of those people catches, I'm not suggesting this. I'm not suggesting this in any way, shape, or form. But if one of these high-profile ICE agents catches a round to the dome, how many more high-profile agents you think will be out there? How many more movie stars and fucking hosts of talk shows, and how many more you think will be out there?
Which had to be way less exciting than her previous hobby of shooting dogs in the head.
Politicians and dog experts are criticizing South Dakota Governor Kristi Noem after she wrote about killing a puppy in her new book.
Both examples blur the line between reality TV and politics, turning the horrors of mass arrest into sensationalized fuel for clicks and attention. Increasingly, creating and controlling content is precisely how politics is done. And even seemingly non-political events like historic wildfires in Los Angeles are quickly reframed as political events once they enter the content machine.
I think that Gavin is largely incompetent, and I think the mayor is largely incompetent, and probably both of them are just stone cold incompetent.
And at an even deeper level, this taps into the feeling of watching the world burning down the street, while we're just expected to keep doing our jobs and consuming as usual. And while things seem like they're maybe collapsing outside, the system just lurches forward without interruption. Ultimately, just like the Soviet form described by Yurchak, modern hypernormalization is a mechanism of political control. Now, writing about scientific and...
I hate to say it, but it's got to get to where a percentage of the population, the average lower income person who is working their ass off thinking that they're going to work their way into middle class can no longer provide for the basic needs of their family, right? They're going to they can't feed their family. They're about to lose their house. They got a car repossessed. They're working as hard as they fucking can. It has to get to the point to where those people are like, what the fuck am I even going to work for? I might as well not go to work and fix the goddamn government. That's what it's got to get to. That's the only way I can see it. That the lower class that thinks if they just work hard enough, keep their nose clean, and nothing's going to affect them, they just stay at work working 80 hours a fucking week. When it becomes like they're still losing this battle and they're going to lose everything, and they go to the streets.
Educational materials in the Soviet Union, Yurchak argues that these texts contributed to hypernormalizing the linguistic form and to the growing understanding that as long as one reproduced the precise forms of language, the correctness of the meanings conveyed was guaranteed.
And the right wing right now is saying that the right wing, the culture war, and Christianity have been invaded by empathy, and it's destroying their beliefs. Empathy is destroying the beliefs of the Christian church.
We see this in Trump's executive order to defend women from gender ideology and extremism and restore biological truth to the federal government. This guy has an order to defend women, and he's been accused of sexual assault by multiple women, so that's sick. Now, how does it attempt to restore truth? Well,
empathy is just understanding how other people might feel about a situation
via the reproduction of a precise form of language aimed at conveying the correct meaning at the government level. And when this controlled form of language is then reduplicated on the very platforms we use to communicate, it helps solidify this hyper-reality.
I was very upfront in my briefing on day one that if we feel that there are lies being pushed by outlets in this room, we are going to hold those lies accountable. And it is a fact that the body of water off the coast of Louisiana is called the Gulf of America.
And I can't help but note right now that two figures very responsible for perpetuating this mode of political hyper-reality, Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg, own the platforms upon which all of this is happening. Okay, so is there any way out of this hyper-normalized world, or are we just in too deep? Well, the best we can do here is point to what Curtis sees as the root cause of the hyper-normalized culture of the West: individualism.
What she was describing was the rise of a new, powerful individualism that could not fit with the idea of collective political action.
Now, according to Curtis, the emphasis on the individual that began with the radicalism of the 60s not only weakened our ability to analyze what's wrong with society, it limits our ability to construct solutions. Now, Curtis has said that the real problem is that we've grown up in a period of high individualism. And in a period of high individualism, the one thing you don't notice is power. You're supposed to be an empowered individual yourself. What's disappeared out of the language is power. Now, Curtis has elaborated that the failure of leftist politics comes down to this precise hyperfixation on the individual rather than the mechanisms of power. And if we want to find a way to break out of this hyper-normal reality, then we need to break free from the spell of individualism, in which we only view single individuals as agents of change. So while we as individuals might feel stuck inside a fake system with no way out, well, maybe we as a collective can do the work of identifying where power comes from so we can maybe, feel a little more normal. And I actually asked our community on a live stream this week what they think we can do to respond to this increasingly weird and bad moment. And folks suggested a lot of stuff. People brought up mutual aid networks, local organizing in politics, and even just continuing to educate ourselves and others on what's going on in the world. It's not a one-stop solution, but I think all those things are really great suggestions. And I would love to hear more from what you all think about this and how you're responding to our current moment. Thank you so much for watching, hanging out, liking, subscribing. It means a ton. Big shout out to our patrons. Your support means so much.
But make sure you stay angry at those brown people, right? They're the ones that are causing you to lose out on everything. The brown people.
What is the role of empathy in the origins, the perseverance, and the destruction of human society and civilization? Hey everybody, I'm Dan McClellan. I'm a scholar of the Bible and religion. Let's take a look at a couple of videos.
Empathy almost needs to be struck from the Christian vocabulary. It does.
Empathy needs to be struck from the Christian vocabulary. Empathy is dangerous.
Empathy is dangerous. Empathy is toxic. Empathy will align you with hell.
The fundamental weakness of Western civilization is empathy. The empathy exploit. They're exploiting a bug in Western civilization, which is the empathy response. So, and I think empathy is good, but you need to think it through and not just be programmed like a robot.
So crapping on empathy is so hot right now within Christian nationalism, but more broadly right-wing authoritarianism, and not because there's any validity to it, but because it is rhetorically useful for socially structuring power and values and boundaries, and right-wing authoritarianism is closely connected with a lack of empathy. Now, these two men obviously...
Even though people don't repeat the words, they say the same things, like, and I feel very sorry for those children that are kidnapped in Ukraine, but I don't want my kids going there. We've got our own problems here.
They did not come up with these ideas themselves. After all, Musk only buys and takes other people's ideas. And here he points out in his interview that he took this from Gad Saad, who recently published a book entitled The Parasitic Mind, How Infectious Ideas Are Killing Common Sense. And in it, he tries to leverage his economics PhD and some training in the cognitive sciences to try to arrogate an air of legitimacy and validity to right-wing authoritarian identity markers. And he's got another book coming out soon called Suicidal Empathy. And he's teased it in some social media posts and some articles such as this one, where he says, suicidal empathy, are you ready? It is so non-empathetic that Trump is deporting Hamas supporters. It is so non-empathetic that in the desire to eliminate astonishing governmental corruption and waste, some people will lose their jobs. It is non-empathetic to deport people who have entered the country illegally. It is non-empathetic to deny free healthcare to illegal immigrants. It is non-empathetic to levy reciprocal tariffs to countries that otherwise are parasitic in their relationship with your country. It is non-empathetic to imprison a felon of color who has only 87 prior arrests. Key lesson, maximize empathy even if it brings the death of your society. Your death will be celebrated by those urinating on your grave. And if you are adequately informed about these issues, you recognize that these are caricatures. This fundamentally misrepresents both the nature of these social issues themselves as well as the activity and the reactions of the different sides of the political aisle. And the reason is, again, not because there's any legitimacy to the overall rhetorical point, but because these are effective identity markers, and they will wave them, expecting this to generate a kind of effervescence of ignorant cheerleading. And so if any of this resonates with you, if you're like, well, yeah, that makes sense, you're the target of this because you have been conditioned and socialized to believe these falsehoods about these issues, about progressive positions on these issues, and about right-wing authoritarian activity related to these issues. But let's get back to empathy, because that's primarily what Saad is targeting in this new book, Suicidal Empathy. And to begin, I want to start with skeletal remains of a Neanderthal, known as Shanidar 1. These skeletal remains show that this individual had some significant disabilities, probably deaf, probably at least partly blind, probably didn't have use of one of their arms, probably had a significant limp, and yet, for a Neanderthal, they survived into what would have been relatively old age, somewhere around 40 or into their 40s. And that's not plausible unless they had the support of a social group around them. And so this skeleton is evidence for social support on the part of people who did not directly benefit from providing that support. And when there is no clear direct benefit for behaviors that are costly, we have to look elsewhere for what is motivating those behaviors. And cognitive scientists, neuroscientists, evolutionary psychologists, and many others have identified empathy as the root of these behaviors. And empathy is also the root of the development and the perseverance of human sociality and civilization. What's going on here? Now, to do this right, we got to go back to the early stages of human evolution, and even before we could call ourselves.
Empathy is what makes us, right, human. Basically, you don't see many wild animals that have empathy, especially for like a different animal.
Humans, but
even within their own species, they very rarely have empathy for anything, even their own young, their own children.
wandering around within small kinship units. And evolutionarily, we're predisposed to support the other folks in our kinship unit unless other evolutionary adaptations come into play. But if it grows too large, we might not be able to know everybody who is in the in-group. Dunbar's number is a famous estimation that we can only really personally know about 150 people at a time. But when social groups get larger than that, because of our ability to cook food, because of our ability to better hunt, because of a variety of features of human evolution, then we start running into people we don't know. And we have to be able to figure out, is this someone I can trust? Is this someone I should cooperate with? Is this someone I should compete with? Is this someone I should just dispatch? And our minds developed ways to help us figure that out. And one of those things is something that begins in infancy, and it's based on the mirror neuron system. And this is the ability to mimic or simulate the activities we see of others. And so this is why infants will kind of mimic what they see their parents and others doing. It's because their brain is actually compelling them to do it. And a part of this is the ability to draw conclusions about what's going on in another's mind, to draw conclusions about their mental state, to simulate what they might be thinking as well as feeling. And this gives rise to the theory of mind, our ability to draw conclusions about what's going on in other people's minds. And this allows us to interact in more informed and calculated ways. But it also helps us to simulate what they might be feeling, which is what gives rise to things like sympathy pains and other things like that. So when we see other people experiencing things, there's a degree to which our mind is simulating those experiences. And all of this is intended to help us more efficiently and effectively engage socially so that our social groups can grow larger and larger without breaking down, because we can cooperate, we can compete when it becomes necessary or useful to us. And on a social level, things like religion are institutional frameworks that also contribute to that, because they give us means of costly signaling. And that's ways to signal to others that we might not know that we can be trusted, that we can engage in the behaviors that are expected of faithful members of the in-group. And so religion is one of the social frameworks that facilitates the...
Not anymore, but true before, right?
And the increased size of social groups.
Before, in general, before, let's say, in the last fucking 20 years, someone identified as being a member or going to or a part of this religion, you would think they probably encompass and put virtue in the beliefs of that religion, right? They probably act like you would expect a Christian to act,
without them breaking down. And we call those features that allow increased complexity and size pro-social features. So pro-sociality is things that contribute to the integrity and the cohesion of society. And empathy is one of the central motivators of pro-sociality, because it allows us not only to draw conclusions about the mental states of others, but even to feel what they're feeling, and that increases cooperation. And so there are two different dimensions of empathy. There is what is known as affective empathy, and that's where you're feeling their feelings. And then the other is cognitive empathy, and that's when you're drawing conclusions about their mental state. And on the cognitive empathy side, there's a degree to which that can facilitate manipulation. If we understand what they're going through, we might take advantage of that knowledge. And so there can be a detrimental aspect of that. Now, whether or not empathy is helpful or harmful to human sociality and civilization has to do with the scope of empathy, because we have a variety of different social identities that are intersecting and that are more important to us or less important to us. And those social identities are not all encompassing, they are limited. And we are usually going to be most closely tied to the social identities that we grew up with, the social identities of those who are closest to us, the social identities of those who look and talk and eat and dress and act like us. And so that limited scope can contribute to what is known as parochial empathy. And that is where we have much greater empathy for those who are closest to us, to the degree that it creates antagonism toward the outgroup. And so empathy can be harmful when parochial empathy gets too acute and causes us to harm the outgroup or to dehumanize the outgroup or to try to get rid of the outgroup. Now, not all empathy is parochial empathy. You do have a more general empathy that can increase the scope out beyond the in-groups that are closest to us to include others who may be entirely within outgroups, who may not share any real significant social identities with us. And that's the type of empathy that is more supportive of human sociality and civilization. So what folks like God Saad and Elon Musk and Christian nationalists and right-wing authoritarians are doing is pointing to the reality that empathy can be harmful, but doing so in defense of the harmful type of empathy. Because when you look at God Saad, he's very frequently being xenophobic, being ethnocentric, being bigoted towards folks that don't fit into the social identities that are most important to him. And the same is true of Elon Musk and Donald Trump and Christian nationalists in general and right-wing authoritarians in general. They are the ones who are most strongly committed to parochial empathy, but they're leveraging the fact that some empathy can be dangerous to try to make it sound like parochial empathy is the right way to go. But parochial empathy is precisely...
Right. We can have empathy, but it needs to be this empathy.
The dangerous type of empathy. So they are undermining their own case. They don't have the foggiest idea what they're talking about. They're just trying to leverage some findings from these fields of inquiry to try to defend their own intuitive, petty, and naive identity politics, which are fundamentally right-wing authoritarian and are engaged in precisely that kind of parochial empathy. So that's the biggest problem, in my opinion, with folks like God Saad and Elon Musk and Donald Trump and Christian nationalists and right-wing authoritarians talking about empathy. They are profoundly misinformed about the science of empathy. And when it comes to Christian nationalism and they try to rope in the Bible to support them, they're even more wildly misguided, because the Bible consistently and repeatedly talks about a need to protect the cosmic order and the social order, because one is the canary in the coal mine of the other. Cosmic order is the balance and stability of the universe, and the gods are the ones who have oversight over that, or just the God of Israel with their divine council. Social order is the stability and the balance of society, and it's usually human rulers as representatives of the gods who have control over that. And social instability is seen as a reflection of cosmic instability. And
I think it's very telling that, I'm telling you, I'm starting to see a trend where actual Trump supporters are getting fucked over in some way. They don't care as long as they believe that the people that believe differently than them on the left or leftist or socialist or Hamas supporters are getting fucked more. But we're in a situation where none of us have to be fucked. But they're okay getting a little fucked as long as those motherfuckers get fucked more.
You can look at Psalm 82 for that idea.
Go to a platform, any platform in the world, and type in cop video. I don't give a fuck if it's Pornhub. I shouldn't have to tell you how to find videos on the internet. You're on Facebook. Close my video. I know you've asked 16 fucking times. Close my video on Facebook and type in cop and hit enter.
Where the foundations of the earth are rocked because the gods of the nations have neglected their duties to the cosmic and therefore the social order. And this is why the orphan and the widow and the poor and the needy and the oppressed are idealized victims within ancient West Asian law codes and other kinds of ideological texts. So we see this in the laws of Hammurabi, where Hammurabi says, I have defended the rights of the poor and the widow and the orphan.
I'm trying my best. Okay? I'm trying my absolute best. You're on a device on Facebook watching my video. How do I find these videos? How the fuck did you find me? Repeat that step, but add cop in there somewhere.
Orphan. And then you go look through the laws of Hammurabi, there's not a single law that supports the rights of the poor or the orphan or the widow. And we see similar claims in the Hebrew Bible and in the New Testament about concern for the plight of the poor and the widow and the orphan and the needy and the oppressed. Because a breakdown in the social order, in social equity, indicates broader cosmic problems, indicates something very wrong is going on in the heavens and things are going to get worse here. And this is part of what the prophetic critique is all about. The 8th century prophets down to Jesus, there was a concern for the elites within society who might manipulate the economic systems, who might manipulate the justice system, who might manipulate land consolidation and debt consolidation and all these things to advance their own interests to the detriment of the poor and the needy and the orphan and the widow. And the biggest problem, according to the 8th century prophets, was that they were then turning around and going and performing the public requirements to put their piety on display. And Jesus talks about this as praying on the street corners and disfiguring their faces when they fast. And they're doing this so that they can engage in the costly signaling, showing...
Thank you, Gorndev. I appreciate it. I feel like I'm herding cats while trying to teach retards how to use glue sticks. I don't know where we're at here. I might jump off a fucking bridge just because of that question.
Showing everybody that they're the real ones, that they're doing everything right, while at the same time destroying the entire purpose of the law that demands those public performances, which, according to the 8th century prophets, according to Jesus, according to others, was the generation of a just, a righteous, a merciful, and equitable society. Because without equity, you cannot have the justice and the righteousness and the mercy. And so this is not to say they were all communists. It's to say that they were concerned that social equity not get too out of whack because of the cosmic significance of that. So empathy is a big part of that. And when people try to crap on empathy and say that it's hurting us, what they're really talking about is that it is
they're making an argument because they're showing no empathy whatsoever. And some people are going to look at that and be like, well, you know, like, how would I feel? How would I feel if I had no other fucking option? But they're trying to get ahead of that and cut it off and say it doesn't matter. That's destroying your mind. You got to protect you and your family while they're also fucking you. But they want you so hyper fixated on your bubble that you're not looking at anybody else's bubble saying, what the fuck's going on over there?
Threatening to the structures of power that benefit the dominant group. That's the in-group for these people, and that's the only group they care about. And so that's the parochial empathy that creates the kind of antagonism that can hurt others, and that can lead to the erosion of human societies and human civilizations. So when people are crapping on empathy because it hurts civilization, they're the ones engaged in hurting civilization, and they don't even know what they're talking about, and they need to grow the hell up. And the fit for this video has been Hellboy.
I was kind of excited to see his thoughts on the subject. Not that one. Not that one. All right, guys. That's it for me, I guess. I'm out of here for the night. It is 1:30 in the morning here. Everybody go to Google and type in cop. I don't know. Thank you guys for joining us. Thank you for being here. Thanks for hanging out with me, I guess. I'm starting to question even fucking, I don't know. I might not even be back. Have a good night. Love you. See you. Bye. Donate to the show if you want to. Have a good one.
But I can tell you this about if this douchebag happens to see this particular show, you don't have the forking balls to call out the people on this planet by name and tell them exactly who they are and tell them the rest of the world who they are. You don't have the forking balls. You don't have the balls.
Okay, Scott.
Here we go, I think I started.
Thanks for the donation, Corn Diff. Appreciate it.
Listen off, it's about to get lit. Get the place in the best, you know that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen none yet. Here we go, I think I started some shit. Piss them off, it's about to get lit. Get the place in the best, you know that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen none yet. And they say that I'm a lunatic. Well, listen, bitch, I came equipped with a quick wit and a 6th sense for the stupid shit. Where my true believers? Y'all need Jesus. Praise the Lord, head to the extreme. All these false fucking prophets who profit off of gossip. Worshipping drums, cocking, begging for a throat deposit. Swinging fucking meat hammers like four in a thong. He's strapped to the shaft, beating his chest like he's King Kong. Starving for attention, I'ma make your gut burst. I'll be your huckleberry, I can quench that thirst. Baby eating lizard people, alien sex. What's next? Trump in a dress, fucking Flynn on his desk.